Hello, everybody. It's Betsy here, and today we are going to solve equations using square roots. Now, one of my other videos in this playlist does the same thing. I just wanted to practice it a little more for some of you that may need extra practice. So let's get started. All right, number one, it says 3x squared minus 12 equals 3. But I don't want 3x squared minus 12 equals 3. I want x. So what we're going to do first is isolate that x squared. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we're going to get it by itself. So I'm going to change up the color here. So I'm going to take this 3x squared, this whole term, and I'm going to box it out because that's the last thing we're going to work with. Now, I got a minus 12 here. I need to move that to the other side of the equal sign. To do that, you use the opposite sign. It's a minus or negative, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. All right? So now, when I do that, these cancel. They're gone. I can bring down my 3x squared. 3 plus 12 is 15. Now, I have 3 times x squared equals 12. I don't want 3 times x squared. Again, I'm trying to get it down to an x. So let's keep getting that x squared by itself. So we need to isolate it. We need to get rid of that 3. How do we do that? Well, they're multiplying. So if they're multiplying, guess what we're going to do? We're going to divide. Oops, I didn't mean to use that. Let me erase that here. There we go. All right, so we're going to divide. And whatever we do to one side, again, we have to do to the other. So they're timesing by 3, so we're going to divide by 3. And when we divide by 3, well, 3 divided by 3 is 1. Those are gone. And I'm left with x squared equals 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now, we have to ask ourselves, what squared is 5? And because I want exact answers, I'm not giving approximate. Approximate means that you can put it in decimal form. I don't want approximate. We want to do exact answers. Exact answers. All right. So we need to get rid of the square. And how do we do that? Yep. Get rid of a square, use square root. So we are going to take the square root of both sides, because whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. And we have learned that if you take x squared and you take the square root of it, you're left with x equals. Now, we also know, as an example, I'm going to go up here. If I have x squared equals 9, we know that 3 squared is 9, and the quantity negative 3 squared is 9. So x would have 2 different answers here. They'd be plus or minus 3. So we're going to have 2 answers here also, because we got to do the positive and the negative. So put plus and minus, and we'll leave it as a square root of 5. 5 is not a perfect square. There's nothing times itself that makes 5. We're not going to work with decimals. And there's no perfect square that goes into 5. So we're done. All right, what do you think? We doing okay? Let's do another one. So what are we going to do first? We're going to isolate that x squared term. Isolate it. And whatever is outside that box, it's going to the other side. And how do we get it to the other side? Well, if they have a minus 10 to put it on the other side, we've got to add 10. And again, whatever you do to one side, we're doing to the other. Now, when I look at this, now these are gone. Negative 10 and positive 10 is gone. And now we got negative x squared equals 15 plus 10 is 25. Let's take a look here now. Do I have just an x squared? Because once I have just an x squared, then we can look at taking the square root. But we don't. We have negative x squared. So that's like a negative 1, remember. You want to put the 1 there. We need to get rid of that negative 1. So what are we going to do? They're timesing by negative 1. We're going to divide by negative 1. Or in reality, you're just going to change your signs. A negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1, so I get x squared equals. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. 25 divided by 1 is 25. Let's take a look here. If I want to know what times itself is negative 25, there's nothing, because we know a negative times a negative is a positive, and a positive times a positive is a positive. So we're not going to get a real answer here. There's no real solutions. Oops, pen went on me. All right, there's nothing that will multiply by itself that equals a negative number on our real number line. So I hope that was helpful. And I'm going to do a couple more, so maybe you want to come to the next video. Have a good day.